Today on an all-new Dr. Phill. His disappearance came totally out of the blue.
There has been no hint of him or the vehicle.
Citizen sleuths are ordinary people trying to solve cases.
The first thing I see is the vehicle.
Our cameras are there
We found Jed Hall's license plate.
when the truth is uncovered.
Amy, that's your car.
It doesn't mean that he's in there.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you. According to the FBI, nearly 600,000 Americans go missing every year. Most are found, but tens of thousands remain missing and become cold cases. Now, it's no secret that police departments across the country are dealing with critical staffing shortages that make it difficult to investigate every case. So where do people go when there isn't enough law enforcement? The answer is citizen sleuths. Ordinary people who are trying to solve cases. Now, whether it's hitting the streets, diving in water, or digging for clues online, sleuthing can breathe new life into cold cases. While some people wonder if citizen sleuths help or hinder cases, the fact that everyday Americans want to help is a really good example of how people can put their differences aside for a higher calling. Now, during these divisive times in our country, it's good to see people focusing on solving problems instead of winning arguments and placing blame. But none of this was on Amy Hall's mind when she woke up one morning in January 2018 and discovered her 16-year-old son, Jed, was just gone.
Jed is my second son. He was definitely a very happy kid. Jed left our home in the middle of January in 2018. I got up that morning and noticed that his bedroom door was open and saw that he wasn't in there. And then I noticed a suicide note on his desk. Oh my God, how could this possibly be happening? It was like a body blow. I do not believe he committed suicide. We were completely blindsided by Jed's disappearance. There had been no disagreements. I went to the school and noticed that there was a broken window right next to the door. And that was when I called 911. He had taken one of our family cars with him, a Nissan Versa. The last ping on Jed's phone was down near the river, near the boat dock. There was a journal found that said all the things that he would take with him. Clothing, I know he took his retainer, 7 pairs of underwear, because that'll last you for 2 weeks. Why would you take your retainer and changes of underwear if you were just gonna go and kill yourself? The private investigator believes that Jed has run off.
Today, October 29th, marks the 19th birthday of Matthew Jed Hall. Now, he's the teenager that disappeared nearly 3 years ago on January 22nd, 2018. Now, since then, police, a private investigator, and his parents are searching for answers to how the teen vanished.
There has been absolutely no sign, no clue, no hint of him or the vehicle for 4.5 years. After Jed left, I spent 90% of the time sobbing, totally and completely helpless. If they pulled Jed out of the river tomorrow and there's his body in the car, it's the worst possible scenario, but at least I could move on from there. But I'm just holding on to hope and trying to stumble back into life.
Well, Amy, it's good to meet you. And let's talk about Jed for a minute, because his disappearance came totally out of the blue for you. This was a happy young man.
Yes.
Engaged in every way, family-wise, friends, school, just no indications, no red flags, nothing that this is someone that would go away.
Correct.
And you said he was always trying to improve himself, do a better job of being Jed, just everything that you would, that a mother, a parent would look for in a young man, that you would hope for. He set goals with the Civil Air Patrol group.
Right.
What was he like?
List left on his desk.
Right. What was your relationship with him the last time you saw him, the last few weeks that you were around him? Any major changes or anything?
No, there didn't seem to be any big changes. We always kind of tucked him in at night and asked him how his day had gone and so on, and I'd done that the night before. I had gone to give him a kiss, and he moved, and so I ended up kissing his nose, and so then we were both laughing about that. And now I wish I had taken the time to kiss him properly on the cheek and give him a big hug and so on, or wish I'd known to say something.
Kiss on the nose and a good laugh is a pretty good exchange, right? That's a pretty good exchange. Now, you went to his room, door was open. That's when he found the letter.
Not right away, but yes.
Yeah, and it was in his room.
Right.
Yeah, but he wasn't there when he was supposed to be. So why did you go straight to the school?
First, we searched the house. We searched the yard. And my husband said, why don't you drive to the school and I'll drive to where the Civil Air Patrol meets and to another spot where he and I used to go hiking almost every week. And we'll check those places and then we'll regroup
But this
back
was
at the
after
house.
you found the note.
Right.
Okay, so there were 3 places that were kind of in his orbit, and so you read the note, you said, let's go check the 3 places that we know are in his world.
Right.
Okay, so Amy says a police investigator revealed her son broke into the school the day she discovered that he went missing, and the footage you're about to see is believed to be the last time anyone saw him.
We found out that Jed had broken into the school the morning he left. He drove up to the school, then he breaks the window. He goes straight to a particular locker, opens it up, puts a note, wallet, money, and necklace in. The girl whose locker it was a friend of his, and he closes the locker and he leaves. This is the note that was left. It says, in this wallet is plus 1,000. Keep it and save a trip to Hawaii. This is what I am leaving for you, and I want you to have a good trip. I love you, and I will miss you. Goodbye, Jed. I don't know why he would break into the school to give her that instead of taking it to her before he left town. There has been absolutely no sign, no clue, no hint of him or the vehicle for 4.5 years.
Here's a page from Jed's notebook that you found after he disappeared, and it lists many things that he planned to take with him, like underwear, granola bars, his retainer.
Well, it doesn't say retainer on his
Well,
list,
dental
but
kit, but we know that it was his retainer and all. Not any of this you need if you're going to end your life.
we thought that, well, there's no way, if he's working these lists, and we knew he had taken things. So why would he take a bunch of things if he was going to kill himself?
Yeah, and what did the police think?
I believe they agreed with us.
Amy says that when she could not get any help from the local police, she accepted help from 2 dads who have dedicated their lives to helping families of missing loved ones through their organization, Adventures with Purpose.
In the past 2 years of taking this on, we have now recovered 22 missing persons.
Jed Hall had a cell phone that last pinged right here on the Snake River in Idaho Falls.
With some of these areas that we come into, it's really the sonar that helps us find these vehicles.
We then put a magnet on it that confirms that it actually is indeed a vehicle.
When I dropped the magnet in, I felt 1 bounce. I knew it was the bottom of a river. 2 bounces. 3rd one.
We'll reveal more of the search when we meet divers Jared and Doug right after the break.
This is my quilt that I made about Jed. It's called Hole in My Heart. And there's a big heart in the center with a big black space. there's the hole in our hearts. The not knowing, it's a horrible void that I can't penetrate at all. And I don't know what's on the other side of it. And it's all consuming. I keep this on the bed all the time to keep our hearts warm.
Well, today we're talking about the rise of citizen sleuths, ordinary people trying to solve cases. Now, we've been talking to Amy here, who reached out to a YouTube rescue team and volunteer group called Adventures with Purpose. These are guys that dive for missing people. And let's just take a look at what happened.
Our YouTube series is called Adventures with Purpose. We're an underwater sonar search and recovery dive team who travels the U.S. working missing persons cold cases. In the past 2 years of taking this on, we have now recovered 22 missing persons.
Helping families get answers to nightmares that they've been living with is why we do what we do. We take it very seriously. Jed Hall was 16 years of age when he vanished in 2018. Jed Hall had a cell phone that last pinged right here on the Snake River in Idaho Falls.
With some of these areas that we come into, it will just be a junkyard of vehicles under there. It's really the sonar that helps us find these vehicles.
When we identify a target on sonar that we believe to be a vehicle, we then put a magnet on it that confirms that it actually is indeed a vehicle.
There it is, right there. Right there. Right side up, on its wheels. When I dropped the magnet in, I felt one bounce. I knew it was the bottom of a river. 2 bounces. Third one, we're on it. Smack right to the side of the vehicle.
The buoy's in the water, we have a car.
Once I am suited up, I then get in off the boat ramp, allow the current to take me down to where the vehicle is marked, and then I begin my descent down to the vehicle. The first thing I see is the vehicle. It's covered in silt. I move it away. I can tell it's a gray vehicle. I then begin to make my way down to the bottom of the vehicle. The windshield is out, so the entire cabin of the vehicle was silted in. And I go to the rear corner of the vehicle. The license plate is buried.
Well, he doesn't look like he's got a license plate in his hand.
We found Jed Hall's license plate.
Amy, that's your car.
It doesn't mean that he's in there. He may have let the car go into the water and gone somewhere else.
This doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
You know, we were there at the time, recording all of this search and all, and I'm watching you closely on the bank, and you really have mixed emotions at that point, right? You want to know, but you don't want to know.
Well, when we first got contacted directly by Adventures with Purpose, we were humoring them. That was kind of how we felt. We'd been told by the police that they had searched the river multiple times, so we believed there wasn't any way he could possibly be there. They'd already searched everything. And so we were just kind of humoring them. Okay, sure, come on in, take a look, see if we can find anything. And we were completely shocked, completely blindsided when they found the vehicle.
I'd like to welcome Jared Lysick, the founder of Adventures with Purpose, and Doug Bishop, one of the lead divers. Guys, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for what you do. You've been doing this for how long?
So we've been doing the YouTube series for 4 years now. What initially started out as looking for garbage to clean up the environment underwater. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until late 2019 to where it really turned into a family reaching out to us that said, we understand that you have this ability to find, locate, and remove cars from the river. Right. We have a lost loved one. Do you think you can come help us?
Yeah. And how many cars have you guys found since you started doing that?
In the last 3.5 years, I would say over 500 cars we found underwater.
Wow. And a lot of these are just cars that people dump, right? They just getting rid of cars.
Usually insurance fraud or stolen.
Yeah. But you've also found bodies in cars across time, right?
Yeah, 24 now.
24 bodies.
Yes.
What's the hardest part of actually finding the car? Is it, this is technology, I know.
Yeah. We specialize in using sonar, which sonar is not taught to law enforcement on a national level. So what we've been able to teach ourselves organically is really rare. And that's really where our specialty begins and starts, right there.
The divers found the license plate. They found the car. Find out what happened next.
So once we notify law enforcement, it's a really huge recovery effort.
This is his vehicle. We're hoping that he's not there too. Every time that we have talked to the police, they have said this is still an open investigation. My husband is a former police officer. He worked for the city of Idaho Falls, which was the group that investigated our son being missing. We always cooperated with them. When we asked them questions about what was going on, we pretty much always got the answer, you're retired, you're not part of the police force anymore, we can't tell you anything. We really don't trust the police here. We feel like they have failed us.
Now, Jared and Doug are from a volunteer group, Adventures with Purpose, who dive in deep waters to look for missing people. Here's what happened when they searched for a teen boy, Jed, whose mom, Amy, was really desperate for information.
So once we notify law enforcement that this is in fact Jed Hall's vehicle, it's in a crime scene. Crime scene tape goes up, and then it's a really huge recovery effort.
From the looks of the plate, it looks like it has been there a while. It wasn't just a recent thing.
Oh, no, it's been down there a while.
They got to bring in a rotator, crane, tow truck. I went down. We have the windshield and the rear window are out of the vehicle. The front bumper is off. I'm checking the wheels to make sure the structural integrity of them is intact. That way we can do a safe, secure, methodical recovery.
This is his vehicle. We're hoping that he's not there too. We're hoping that he took his bags out and let the clutch out, let it roll into the river, and caught a ride with somebody else.
At that point, Doug made his way down the hillside, and then he physically put his hand on to identify and make 100% confirmation that we do have human remains. Is that what I think right there, Doug? Yes. Yeah. We have confirmation of remains.
Doug just came up. He told me there are remains inside there. So, I mean, at this point, obviously, we're going to assume the worst. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to warn you guys because they are going to kind of drag it.
They're going to put it right there, yeah.
So, you know, that's... So...
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Very, very, very unexpected. Very unexpected.
I feel like I'm going to fall over. Where are we going to bury him?
Mom and Dad.
You had so much to live for.
I can't even imagine what had to be going through your mind. Take me through that moment.
I was still a little bit in denial. Maybe it's not him.
When did it hit you, the reality that it was him?
I knew as soon as they said that there were remains, it had to be him.
Yeah, I heard frustration in your voice when you said you had so much to live for.
He did.
Yeah.
He was a straight-A student. He was a popular kid, not crazy popular, but virtually everybody in the school he went to knew him. He helped tutor other kids. He was in the Civil Air Patrol. He played soccer. He was good at practically everything he did.
Still can't explain it.
After he left, the Civil Air Patrol informed me that he had already achieved another rank. And since they only do the ceremonies twice a year, I showed up at the next one with his uniform, and they pinned his next rank onto the uniform in the hopes that he would be back to fill that suit soon.
I'm so very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
It's just terrible. And Jared, you wanted to say something to Amy.
I have guilt. Working with you has been the most difficult out of all the families I've ever worked with, because as a mom, you never gave up hope. And I feel like even 4.5 years later, we were there, like, you know, as you had mentioned, you were there to humor us that day, not expecting anything. And for me, that's been weighing on me, that I took that day, I took all hope away from you. And I'm so sorry to be the one to have brought that news to you that day.
It was a terrible day, but it was not as bad as the day he left. This at least gave me some answers.
We have not spoken, you know, since that day.
Correct.
And I've always wondered, like, are you mad at us?
No.
It does make me feel a lot better that, you know, you're not holding
I'm
grudge.
not going to be mad at the messenger.
Okay.
I'm mad as hell at my kid.
Right.
When we come back, I have some things I want to say to Jared and Doug, and we'll hear more from Adventures with Purpose about their most recent search that made news headlines, the body of 16-year-old Kylie Rodney. And later, we'll hear from someone in law enforcement who says there are some key guidelines that ordinary citizens really must follow when looking for missing people. Stay with us. When you're down there and you reach in and you find that there is a body in there, what goes through your mind and heart at that moment?
We just want her home. We're so scared and we miss her so much and we love her so much.
Kylie Rodney was last seen August 6, 2022. She was driving a silver 2013 Honda CR-V.
And Kylie, we love you, and if you see this, please just come home.
16-year-old Kylie Rodney was reported missing just this last August 6th after she attended a party at the Prosser Family Campground in Nevada County. Her cell phone's final ping was near Prosser Lake. The teenager's disappearance made national headlines, and the intensive search efforts came to an end when the Adventures with Purpose team dove into Prosser Lake and found her car and a body still inside.
We can see tire tracks clear as day. You got a tire track right here.
If you look over here, you can see there's no guardrail or anything on this road. So we're just gonna scan the whole lake right here, make sure it's clear.
Time is 10:41. We are now on Prosser Creek Reservoir. This is, according to law enforcement, Kylie's last known location. They said her cell phone stopped pinging right here at 12:33 a.m. on August 6th.
So it's just a big shadow there. You see that?
Possibly. Could be a boat. There it is. See that? What is that? It's like a wheel, man. Look at that. Look at that. That's a wheel. That's a wheel, dude. We got a car. We got a car. We need to go get suited up. It's as devastating as it gets.
Right.
This child, you know, 16-year-old, same age as my daughter. She's only been missing for 2 weeks.
I see the vehicle and the license plate. We have just found Kylie's vehicle over. Approaching the driver's side window, trying to get a look inside. She's in the back of the vehicle. Call the authorities.
When you're down there alone and you reach in and you find that there is a body in there, what goes through your mind and heart at that moment?
A lot of things. Mostly, we're focusing on providing answers. It's extremely tragic, but it's, in a way, rewarding for us to be able to do and provide answers that no one else has been able to provide.
You say you've found how many bodies?
24 now.
24 now. You know, that is tough. And like you say, you've spent all this time really weighing heavily on you all because you're the one that she showed up with hope and left with a broken heart. And you can really take that on really hard. Before we're done, I want to tell you some things about how you got to take care of yourselves along the way, or this can really get to you too. So I want to talk about that before we're done. I'd like to now introduce retired law enforcement officer with the Mission Bay Harbor Patrol in San Diego, Frank Powell. And Frank oversaw the scuba dive and search recovery team. Frank, thank you so much for being here. This is not easy to find, and law enforcement has really limited resources sometimes to, you got a stack of cases this high and resources like this high. It's difficult to do this sometimes, and it can be really dangerous at the same time, correct?
Absolutely. When you conduct a search, if you're looking for evidence underwater, everything immediately moves. Nothing stays put. Even if you have a static water, which means it's not moving, or you think it's not moving, what you have is wind conditions. Winds create waves. Waves create current. So even in a body of water that looks like the water's not moving, everything underneath is moving. You have animals, a little bit of a current. You have trees and branches and silt where things disappear easily. So the method of the search is way more difficult underneath the water. And like an instant commander, you have to make sure that everyone that goes down in the water comes back up.
And when you have people that go at it as methodically and purposely as these guys, that's a big help to law enforcement.
We need volunteers. So let me, maybe the audience doesn't know that, but usually, you have professional law enforcement and their dive team, and they're very professional. Then you have volunteers. People often confuse being a volunteer as an amateur, but the opposite may be. You may have volunteers that are well more equipped, well more trained, well more disciplined in that field than a sheriff department that may only have 2 people on their dive team because they only have 25 cops. And when you go try to put a team together, go, who wants to be on this dive team? Half of them are going to say, I'm not doing it. I don't even know how to swim. You have to methodically pick who's going to be on your team.
Do you guys believe that social media plays a positive or negative effect in finding missing people? Do you guys believe that social media plays a positive or negative effect in finding missing people? Do you think it's positive? That it can be positive? Melissa, Ellen?
I definitely see the negative side that comes out when there is some hurtful things that are spread around with rumors and things that aren't going to lead in the right direction. But on the other hand, there's seriously positive. The resources that come together, the amount of people that can talk and share, it broadens that.
It can make a big difference. Now, Mike Knable's 37-year-old daughter, Andrea Knable, was a volunteer for a group called Missing in America that looked for missing people. That was until she suddenly went missing on August 13th, 2019. Now, he appeared here in studio last year bringing awareness to the case. Take a look. At 37 years old, Andrea Knable, an energetic, outgoing, and devoted mother of 2, was working for the organization Missing in America, a group of mostly women volunteers in Louisville, Kentucky, who help find people all over the country who had disappeared. Then, in the early hours of August 13th, 2019, Andrea Knabel herself went missing.
I was deeply worried. Aaron was worried because there were no responses from any of Andrea's friends. So we started calling everybody we could, going everywhere that she had been that we knew. That's when we knew she was truly missing.
I really hate that you guys are having to go through this. I'm not going to tell you that I'm sorry for your loss because we don't know that you've lost her, but we know that you've lost her so far that she's missing. Being in limbo has to be terrible. What's this been like for you, Mike?
It truly is. I've read someone that described it as frozen or permanent grief.
Well, Mike is joining us virtually. Tell us, what's the update, and are you still working with the police?
The investigation to find my daughter Andrea is very active and open still, both from a police standpoint and from a standpoint of Andrea's sister and myself, her father. We are very, very busy covering leads. We have people coming forward with very important information. We just don't seem to be able to get the police to react on it, and it seems as if they want us to hand them something. I think it's the understaffing issue there. But we continue to work very, very diligently and hard at this. We're doing things every day. We talk several times a day about what's going on in the case, and we're trying to move it forward still.
Well, we're going to keep a bright light on this, and that's why I wanted to have you back, and we're going to post everything up and make sure that people are keeping this on their minds, because you never know when somebody remembers something, sees something, or can give some information that is that one piece of the puzzle that snaps into place and everything else makes sense. So I want to keep a bright light on top of this. And there's one thing I want to share with my audience that I hope they'll take away from today's topic. We'll be right back. One of the things that people often comment about these things are kind of what people call missing white woman syndrome. And Doug, you've had thoughts about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, recently dealing with the Rodney case, I had a similar case not too far away where a young woman who disappeared, 22-year-old Jalissa Fuentes, where working on the Kylie case, she was receiving national headlines. However, Jalissa Fuentes wasn't receiving any coverage. There are, tens of thousands of young Black and Hispanic women and children that go missing, and you never hear about it.
We've really made an effort to balance and cover that injustice in the media coverage. And one of the things that we've looked at that is so tragic is what's happening with American Indians, Alaska Natives, the missing person cases that happen there. And there's the situation with missing and murdered Indigenous women is, I mean, the numbers are staggering and stunning. As you'll see here, murder is the third most prevalent cause of death for Native American girls and young adults from age 10 to age 34. And as of 2016, the National Crime Information Center has reported 5,712 cases of missing American Indian and Alaska Native women and girls. And strikingly, the U.S. Department of Justice Missing Persons Database has only reported 116 cases. Over 5,700 missing, they've reported 116. And according to the Urban Indian Health Institute, there were 506 cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls throughout the selected Colorado Springs cities, with 56% of those reported as murder cases, and 95% of the cases identified never covered by the media, not national, not international. And Indigenous women were 10 times more likely to be killed than the average national murder rate. 10 times more likely to be killed. So, you know, it's a terrible reality, which is why we devoted a show to just that at the end of last year, and that's why I ask you about it now so we can talk about it again. It's really a shame on our society and what we don't do with that. We'll be right back. You know, people always ask me if someone has suffered a loss like yourself and people run into somebody maybe at the store or the mall or whatever, and you see somebody and you know that they've gotten bad news, or they've lost someone, they was, I never know whether to bring it up or not, because, you know, they seem to be doing okay right now and I don't want to bring them down. They don't forget it. It's not like they don't know that they lost that person.
We never forget.
You never forget it, do you? And when somebody comes up and says, hey, I haven't seen you since this came to pass, and I wanted to let you know how sorry I am about it, you would rather have that than them pretend nothing ever happened, correct?
Yes, yes. I'm never going to forget it. I'm always going to be wounded by it.
If you ever wonder, you don't have
Please
to make
bring it
some
up.
big scene out of it or something. Just say, hey, listen, I just want to let you know I know about this, and I'm really sorry, and I just wanted to let you know that you're on my mind and in my heart about it. So
And that feels so fabulous when somebody does that.
You can keep stiff upper lips and move on to the next one, but this changes who you are.
It does.
If your heart's ever telling you, I wish I could talk to Amy, give your feelings a voice. Pick up the phone and call the mother or the father and say, you were just really on my heart, and I just wanted to call you and touch base and tell you what I'm thinking and feeling, and just let you know that it means a lot that we could be part of this, and that it was painful to have to deliver this news. And I promise you that will help you, and it will help the Amys and the other mothers and fathers in the world. You have to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And you guys are doing wonderful work, but you know, you do have a daughter, and you need to make sure and take care of her dad. You guys need to take care of yourselves. But God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank my guests today, including Jared and Doug from Adventures with Purpose, and retired law enforcement officer with the Mission Bay Harbor Patrol in San Diego, Frank Powell. Amy, thank you for coming here and talking about this. It helps others, I can promise you. If you know any information about the whereabouts of Andrea Knable, please call the Louisville Metro Police Department Missing Persons Division at 502-574-7120. Look, Jed Hall would have turned 21 years old this year. He always helped others. He excelled in school and had dreamt of joining the Air Force one day. 16-year-old Kylie was popular, an honor student, scheduled to go to college this fall. Let's just take a moment to honor the memories of those two wonderful young people.
Jed, we've always thought of him as a good kid. My husband always called him the perfect child. He was definitely a very happy kid. I know that he'll always be a part of my heart and a part of my mind. I won't ever stop thinking about him. I think about him every day.
Thoughts and prayers go out to their families. They will be missed in the hearts of all those who love them. We'll see you next time.
Dr. Phill. He's an embezzler
Your father's likely to be gone for a while.
who says his ex-wife is a cougar.
You don't have any young boyfriends.
No, this cougar defense is a joke.
They still live under the same roof.
You guys are divorced, but you're living with Ross.
And if that's not enough drama,
Why don't we tell the truth for just a minute?
Oh, that's due.
wait till you see what leaves Dr. Phill speechless.
It's pretty hard to shock me, but you just did. Let's do it. If we're going to do something here that matters, then we got to deal with the truth.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
If I can help get this family back on track, are you willing to do that?
Ready for you. Take.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phill.
How are you? How you doing? How you doing? Okay, now, a miserable marriage, millions of dollars stolen out of the mouths of school children to shower luxuries on a much younger wife. The New York Post reported she was a cougar with a voracious sexual appetite. And then there were the alleged 20-something boy toys in cheesy lounges and white stretch limos. Sounds like an episode of Desperate Housewives, right? Well, it's not. This is how one couple, Ross and Laura's relationship, played out in the media after he was charged with embezzling money from the New York City Board of Education and asked to be given leniency because he claimed his wife's cougar lifestyle makes her an unfit mother. So he can't go to jail because she's not fit. Take a look.
I was arrested in the spring of 2011, and I was accused of embezzling $3.6 million. I was convicted of stealing $1.7 million.
It is being called the cougar defense. One ex-husband is claiming in court his ex-wife is completely incompetent as a mother to their children because she is a cougar dating much younger men.
Laura was hired by Cougar Life Diaries. She used to write blogs about how to pick up young boys.
I was as curious as everybody else, you know, so I wrote about that.
She was hanging out with a lot of other guys. My son's friends were starting to take bets on who was going to be able to sleep with Laura first.
I wasn't sleeping with everybody. You know, she's a whore, she's doing this, she's... Okay, Ross. Ross is using this cougar defense, which is a joke.
William Lanham is showing his wife's steamy calendar off in court, hoping to paint her as an unfit mom.
My lawyer had submitted a 7-page document. One paragraph said I was looking for an alternative to jail because of my relationship with my daughter and because of the bizarre lifestyle of my wife.
It's all about Ross now trying to save his own ass.
Well, believe it or not, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Ross says his decades-long marriage was actually great until his wife turned into a cheating, sex-obsessed party girl.
My ex-wife Laura and I are divorced, and we are still living under the same roof.
Ross and I have been divorced about 5 months. We were definitely living the millionaire lifestyle, but I didn't have access to the money he made. I felt like I was one of his children.
From 2008 to 2010, Laura and I had a major breakdown. She was seeing this guy.
I had an emotional affair with somebody online. Ross eventually threatened him, and he was gone. And I said, we're going to mediation. I want a divorce.
She chose to take on this party girl lifestyle. She was going out to clubs with men half her age. In the beginning, I thought Laura was just having a midlife crisis, but this was a whole other lifestyle that I couldn't handle. I've been asking her to leave for 4.5 years, and she just refuses to leave.
I will not move out of the house. I ran the household. I was the mom, and the house is in both of our names. Don't tell me that that's not my house.
Well, another eye-popping detail, Laura and Ross are living under the same roof. Seriously, they are divorced, but they're still under the same roof.
Being in the house with my ex-husband, it became War of the Lanhams.
She lives in a room at that side of the house. I live in the master suite on this side of the house.
We can totally avoid each other.
Typically, I would use the front staircase. Laura would use the back staircase. This house was a war zone. We went from a peaceful family life to 3 years of very intense arguing, breaking things, wrestling around, police called. It was a living nightmare.
I used to come to my mother's house and say, no doubt he's gonna try and kill me. I never argued with him by the banister because I was always afraid he was gonna toss me over.
I opened up the computer, I just simply threw it. I smashed it on the floor down below. She runs down, picks up my computer, and then smashes it.
He had locked me in here. This table ended up flipping over, and I remember taking a stapler and slamming the glass.
She picked up the trash can and thrown it at me. I took this chair, I rolled it across the room like that and hit her with it. I took her, wrapped my arm around her waist again, picked her up and threw her on the couch. And once I got her on the couch, I simply just sat on her.
I called 911 while I was actually inside the couch, and he was stopping me from getting out of the couch.
I ended up with bruises all the way from my face down to my shoulder. She refused to unlock the door, so I literally smashed the door open, ripped it off the hinges, and threw it out in the hallway. Scarred up the wall, left marks, dents. The door completely shattered.
I was absolutely living a real-life War of the Roses. I was waiting for the chandelier to come crashing down.
Well, Laura is here, but Ross is joining us via satellite from New York because he can't leave the state. He's been convicted of embezzling $1.7 million, and he's currently awaiting sentencing. Now, Laura, you guys are divorced, right?
Yes.
It's completed, signed off, everything done.
Yes.
But you're living with Ross. You still live in the same house.
The same household.
You use one door and one stairway, and Ross uses another door and another stairway?
For the most part, yes. It's a big house. We rarely see each other. If we're in the gym occasionally, I go out, I leave a lot. At the very beginning of this divorce, I left the house a lot because he was very explosive. So I didn't know what else to do, so I would leave. I'd go out with my friends. I would spend time at my mom's. I just stayed away from the house.
Yeah.
Now it's really a matter of this period of time has made me become stronger.
So why did you get a divorce?
Ross and I did not agree on raising children. That was a big issue in the house. Ross was also very controlling.
So why did you get a divorce? Because he's controlling?
I got a divorce because the marriage no longer worked at all in any area. Sexually, financially, his controlling factors, raising the children. All of our thoughts were different.
So, Ross, why did you get a divorce?
From my perspective, I got a divorce because that's what Laura wanted. I was willing to hang in there, fight for the relationship. She is right. We did not agree most of the time when it came to raising the children. It really just came to the point where she wanted something different. She, after a Christmas argument in 2007, she just changed, and then she started taking on this different lifestyle. It started out with a boyfriend. The boyfriend really was just the tip of the iceberg. She would hang out in bars and nightclubs, and the friends that she had ranged from probably 21 to 26. It was literally watching Laura relive her 20s.
Is that true? Did you,
no.
after this big fight, did you change in some way?
Yeah, after this big fight, I became the person I was when he met me, which was very outgoing. I like to dance. I love people in general, and I do click with younger people. However, I would like to clarify that from 24 to my best friend is 44. I have a variety of friends.
Did you become what's called a cougar? What people normally call a cougar? And what do you define cougar as?
Cougar is a woman that is dating and specifically searching out younger men to date. I don't do that. I did write for Cougar blogs because I have a lot of friends that are younger. I do know a lot of people. I don't date these guys. I don't date them.
So you don't have any young boyfriends?
No, I have friends. I don't have...
Are these friends with benefits?
No.
No, seriously.
No. I mean, there's no... One friend...
You gotta tell the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I had one friend that this past year, I was... And he's not a 20... He's 33.
We'll be right back. Tell me about the calendar.
I can't be upset about my pictures.
Y'all are certainly flexible. And later, I've been doing this a long time, and it's pretty hard to shock me, but you just did.
Laura loves to be naked. She would come into the bedroom naked every day, go to the master bathroom, stand there naked. She would sit down on the floor, spread her legs, paint her toenails, and then get dressed.
Ross tells people that I walk around naked to torture him.
I really believe she was trying to get me to rape her, and then she would have probably put me in jail and got me out of the house.
He says you're trying to bait him into raping you.
Oh, that's entertaining
She
to
was.
me. That's a lie. That is such a lie.
Now, this is the big house where you never see each other?
No, wait.
Oh, no.
This is
Phill,
in
what you
the
have to
master
understand
bedroom.
is this woman did not move out of our master bedroom until 2 weeks before she filed the divorce. So she lived in the master bedroom from the time of her first affair in February of '08 until October of 2010.
I moved into the master bedroom
she used to
in
live this
2009.
alternative
I mean, out of the
lifestyle,
bedroom.
go out, dress up for clubs, and then come home at night and jump into bed with me and lay on top of the covers and say, "Don't touch me." It was a game she played.
No,
Okay,
no,
now,
no, no.
first
That's
of all, wait
a
a minute.
lie.
How big is this house?
It's a very big house. It's
How-
6,000 square feet. I don't even know.
7,000 square
Something
feet.
like that, yeah.
And you've remained in the house. What's this house worth?
Crap. Because he let it go in foreclosure. He doesn't.
It doesn't look like, I mean, it looks like a beautiful home.
No, well, you should come walk through it. No, it's not. He let
It's-
everything go
it's
into
worth about-
foreclosure. We owe over
It's still
$900,000 on the house. It might be marketable for 1.1. I don't know. The market's so bad right now. But it's
So it's
he
$1
hasn't
million
paid.
house, and you say you're not going to leave.
I didn't say that.
You actually did.
I did say it in parts
No,
of it.
she
What
did.
it is at the beginning of this, Ross wanted me out so bad because he would tell me, you need to leave, but he would do that in front of people. And then behind closed doors, it was like, you know what, Laura, let's try and work this out. Let's be civil. We could still live in the house. It won't ruin us financially. We won't have to break up the money because I need the money to do whatever he was doing, the Bridgehampton project. So because he was doing it that way, I was like, okay, because I thought we were going to be friends. And I moved out of the room in 2009 when I took my...
That's not true.
That is true. He still let me use the closet and the bathroom.
Dr. Phill, what
The
she did is she
bedroom-
moved out of the bedroom in August of 2010, but refused to take her clothes out of the closet. That way she could
Oh my
still
God,
come
it
in
was
and dress and
2009.
walk around naked and
It
get
was
dressed every day.
2009.
That's really where the big fight came
It was
from when I tore the door off
2009.
of her hinges.
Okay, you tore the door off of her hinges because she was walking around naked?
The reason I did it was because she was locking me out of her room, but yet she was leaving her clothes in my room so she could come and go in my room, get naked, do whatever she wants. And it was a teasing thing that she used to do with me. She was really trying to just get me aggravated.
Tell me about the calendar.
Okay, that is...
The housewives next door.
I'm...
And this is you.
Yes. I did that when I was 38. If you ever read the paperwork on this...
I don't see any paperwork.
Well, no. On the website, when the website was up and running, I'm sorry, on the website, when the website was up and running, it was about women that felt good about themselves even after marriage, after raising children.
Well,
and I
you
want everybody
clearly
to
feel
understand...
good about yourself.
Yes. I want you to understand...
Yeah, this is you, too.
Yes. Ross funded this.
Yeah, this is your
He knew
Halloween.
all about this. It was not like
Here
a
you are
bad
at Christmas.
thing. I mean, they're cute pictures. I can't be upset about my pictures.
Okay, Ross, you funded this for $65,000. How many copies of this sold?
Maybe 5.
No,
5?
that's not true. That's not true.
We originally ordered 2,500 copies, and I have thrown out probably 98% of them.
That's a
there
lie.
are still a few boxes left in the garage.
That's a lie?
But
What is the truth?
He threw out a couple of boxes, and I asked him not to. We still have, I want to say, maybe 7 boxes in the garage. And we had gone to a few bars. We had sold some. I was trying to promote it online, but the website didn't work out. basically was a bust. I'm not going to say it wasn't. It totally was. I didn't promote it right. He and I were fighting. He'd say, here's some money towards it. And then he'd say, well, you're not going to have sex with me tonight. No, you're not going to get your money. So it was, to me, I was like, okay, I'm done.
Y'all are certainly flexible, I'll say that. We got to take a break. Ross had an indecent proposal for Laura. Did she take it? We're going to find out when we come back.
I said, how about we draw up a sex contract?
If I was to have sex with him, he would continue to pay my bills and give me money to survive.
I said, how about we draw up a sex contract?
If I was to have sex with him, he would continue to pay my bills and give me money to survive.
It only happened twice. Both times felt horribly like rape.
I can't sleep with somebody that I'm not attracted to.
You were still married when this was going on,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you're married
That's correct.
and you draw up a sex contract.
I didn't draw it up, he did.
Well, did you agree to it?
We talked about it.
That's not an essay question.
I didn't really agree to it, no, because we talked about it so much.
Did you have sex with
We
him
had
twice?
sex one time.
Did you get paid for
This
it?
is
Nope.
typical.
No.
So he
Because
stiffed you on it?
He didn't give me the money.
It
I
wasn't
didn't
about
have
money. It
access
was
to the
about
money.
me helping her with her business.
Well-
That's really what it was. After over a year of her clubbing, going out to bars, hanging out with all these guys, we had already put $65,000 into her calendar. And now the calendar turned out to be such a bust that she didn't get anywhere with it. Now she's coming back to me wanting to redo her website and different things. And she's asking me to help her. And I turn to her and I say, Laura, you've been cheating on me, going out to clubs, you don't want me in your life, and now you're turning to me for help? I said, all I really want to do is reconnect with you. And that's where the sex thing came up.
You know
It
what?
actually
His
came up
timeline
through,
is so wrong.
through one of my therapist's suggestions. One of the therapist's suggestions at one point in time to Laura and I is to grow close when you're having such issues is sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. So when this particular conversation came up, that's really where it came from.
So just give me the short version of how this sex contract worked. You drew up a contract that said what?
I was supposed to be helping her with her website. And I said, well, if I'm going to do this for you, well, then what are you going to do for me? You've treated me like crap for over a year and a half, and now you're asking me to help you. This makes no sense.
So let's get to the
that's
clause where
said,
she does something for you. How was this articulated?
once a week, on one given day, we would have sex. That was it. Okay. It was, there was really nothing else to it. It was just I help her with her website. She would have sex if I did that. And we tried it twice. It was a terrible thing.
Did you agree to it?
No, we tried it once, so I guess I did agree
so you
for
did
the one
agree
time.
to it. During this phase, were you having dates with other people?
No. No.
She says you were going to bars.
I was going out. There is a difference between going out and actually going out on a date where somebody's going to take me out for dinner and, I don't know, whatever. You know, I was going out with my friends. I had a group of friends that we'd go out. We'd go to some of the different clubs. We'd go out to dinner. I'd go next door to my neighbor's house. We'd go out to dinner. Well, we'd have dinner at her house. I mean, I was doing a lot of different things.
So you're celibate at this point?
You know...
no,
yeah,
I'm not. You don't have to.
That's my answer.
I'm not asking you. I'm just asking.
Because
I'm trying to find out where the bottom is here.
Certainly
Right.
not.
Now,
you know.
You say that Ross has cheated on you.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Started in 2003.
She says that he cheated on her with his ex during the marriage.
Yes.
And you say that he's been caught being inappropriate with coworker.
Yes.
So you say he's the one that's running red lights in this relationship, not you.
I would ask her to prove any of that.
Let me just ask you, Ross, is it true?
The one time it did happen was when we took a group of people to California for Kayla's 13th birthday, and Laura said she couldn't come with us because she had to stay home and have sex with two guys. She called it her sex date weekend. So
okay, is that true?
That's
weekend,
absolutely
yes.
a lie.
Okay, now wait, come on, somebody tell me the truth.
I'm telling you the truth.
We are. That's the problem, Dr. Phill. You'll never get the truth out of her.
Yeah, hold on. These are not things about which reasonable folks can differ. that either happened or it didn't. One of you is just blatantly lying that he went to California.
Well,
you couldn't go because you were going to stay behind and have
There's
sex.
two parts to that. He did go to California. I stayed behind because this was one of his tactics of controlling me. I'm taking Kayla to California for her
It wasn't a tactic of controlling. It was your daughter's 13th birthday.
This is my life. I cannot ever speak nothing.
Well, you feel my frustration because I can't get an answer.
I know, and if I was
this
sitting
is
along
not.
the way.
This is.
And she'll twist your
It
words
doesn't
too
really
eventually,
matter
Dr.
at
Phill.
this point. I'm just trying to get a feel of what's going on. Did you stay behind because you had a date for sexual purposes?
I was not going away with him.
Right.
End of story. And I was finally in my house, and I thought, I don't want to go out. I want to stay home. It was him. I wanted to leave because I couldn't stand being in the house with him. But I actually, when I was home, I was like, I like being home.
Do you have any
I didn't
friends
go,
over?
Nope.
All right, we got to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the fact that this has deteriorated into some substantial physical fights here. I mean, people always ask me, Dr. Phill, if people get divorced, can they stay under the same roof? The reason this has come up is because in our economy, sometimes it makes financial sense to stay under one roof, share a home as roommates, even though at one time they were husband and wife. Does it make sense and does it work? Well, we have a laboratory example right here. We'll talk about that when we come back.
When Ross and I are together, it generally is in the gym. No words are said.
There's not even any eye contact. It feels a little awkward.
I basically avoid him at all costs.
This is the cabana. I don't ever come back here anymore because Ross stays in this cabana a lot. It just has a bad aura for me.
Okay, now, it must be tough living under one roof after a divorce, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's hard on both of you. Ross says he's been trying to get Laura to move out for the last 4.5 years.
Yes.
Do you have any intention of moving out?
Well, I think we're going to have to. I think the bank's going to kick us out, to be honest. So, yeah, I have to move out eventually.
Okay, but otherwise, you have no intention of moving out. Because you expect...
And why? Why wouldn't
Because
somebody move out if they want an alternative lifestyle?
I didn't want an alternative.
Why
I
would
didn't
they-
want
why
to
would
be
they
married
spend
to
time
you. I
tearing the
didn't
children
want to be
apart?
married to you. My children didn't live
And
in the
that's
house.
fine.
Kayla did.
We're not talking about wanting to be
That's
married
fine,
or
Ross,
not. We're
but
talking
this was
about your
Ross's
choice to stay in
answer.
the house and destroy a family.
Ross's answer was, you leave, you leave. You take nothing. You're not allowed to have my money. You're not allowed. I was in this marriage for a good 15 years. I was like, well, I should be allowed to take my furniture. He wouldn't let me take any. I'm like, then fine, I'm staying.
She's
You're
lying.
Gonna play
that was in the very
card
first document to her lawyer. I was going to give her anything she wanted out of the house.
No.
She's lying. She makes things
That
up
was
as
in
she goes along.
2010. We're talking 2008 when I asked you for the divorce. By 2010,
Well, when I asked you, when you originally
look, it is
asked,
not-
the original document between you and I
Okay, hold on.
was where I was offering you $600,000.
My God, I feel like I'm married to both of you.
Sorry, Dr. Phill.
Now, let me ask you some questions, and these aren't essay questions.
Okay.
You've had physical fights with Ross.
Yes.
And in those fights, did you stab him with a pin?
Yes, I did.
And where did you stab him?
I think it was like on his side because I remember just trying to break free and I just grabbed whatever I could grab and just.
Do you think that he has drugged you?
Yeah.
In what way?
I had passed out at the wheel of a car and I got my senses together. I don't even know how. Went into my friend's house. She was working at a tanning salon. Laid down, fell asleep for a couple hours. Got up. I said, I don't feel right. So I went home. Was just went to bed, and that night was whatever. And that night I honestly he was on top of me.
What is whatever?
Whatever
that
means
whatever.
that. What happened was I was laying there and I was sleeping, but I was in this fog, which I don't do these
So you
things.
think he drugged you and had sex with you?
Well, I think he tried. No, I woke up. I woke up.
You think he drugged you like roofie, date rape type drug?
What they pulled up was they said whatever it was whatever the chemical is that's in Xanax or something. I don't know. So it was like whatever they pulled in.
You had your blood
out of me.
tested?
Yeah, I went to the hospital.
And it
I
was,
was like, I don't know what's wrong
positive.
with me.
Ross, did you drug her?
Of course not. Now, why don't we tell the truth for just a minute?
Oh, let's do.
Okay.
Yeah,
It would
Ross
be
doesn't tell
refreshing
the
for me
truth.
too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Laura just doesn't know how to do it. Well, the incident she's talking about did occur in the sense that she went to the hospital for a drug overdose. That part's true. And it is true that she tried to blame it on me. She was telling her parents and everybody that I did it. But the interesting thing is, Dr. Phill, is 2 months later, she actually got drugged again, taken to the hospital out in the Hamptons, and her little young friends had to call me to come and get her because I was sitting at home with her parents and her brother. So it's kind of funny that 2 times, 2 months apart, she was drugged, overdosed, and pumped her stomach, and yet I was with her parents the second time and wasn't even home the first time. So I'm kind of curious how I was able to do that from 60 miles away.
Okay,
I never blamed him for the second one. The second time I was out at a club and somebody had poured something or in my drink, supposedly. That's what they said.
There is a common denominator here,
no,
but she refuses to tell the truth.
2 times, and just so we're clear, and I know this doesn't sound good, but the fact is that actually happened within 2 weeks of each other.
Here's my concern. While you two are going through all of this, and you've smashed doors down, you've stabbed him with a pin, he's wrestled you onto the couch, you said sitting on top of you.
Right.
And so all of this is going on, and y'all have a daughter. You have a daughter in the middle of all of this. I don't get it. I mean, you have a very different image than what you describe your lifestyle as being. You sit there calling her a liar with self-righteous judgment, which really is a bit of a stretch for me in that you are convicted of embezzlement and facing prison time. To be self-righteous about honesty seems to me to be, this whole thing is a contradiction of terms.
Exactly.
You know, Laura, you have a daughter in the middle of this. Are y'all concerned about her?
100%, all the time. That's why we're here. Honestly, it's like this has been a
We're here
battle
because of Laura, not because of Kayla.
No, we're here because of I don't know,
Laura
Ross.
wanted her attention on TV.
Oh,
this woman
my
is
God.
an attention junkie.
I'm
She
sorry,
is a narcissistic attention junkie.
Your producers called me.
They came to me and said, look, this is all over the paper. It is a great teaching tool. Are you interested in doing this story? I said, thank you, but no, thank you. I'm not. And then they said, well, there's a child involved. She's caught in the middle.
Right.
Because they know that's what gets my attention. Next, Ross and Laura's daughter, Kayla, that's caught in the middle of this, is here. She has not been listening to this. I've had her sequestered in the back. What I wanted to do was find out what she was listening to and living with, and I think we have done that with great clarity. I'll talk to her when we come back.
Kayla no longer speaks to me. She literally has pushed me out of her life.
When this whole divorce started, I had a really good relationship with my dad. But as I started hearing the fighting, I realized that my dad was lying to me.
You suck as a dad.
Well, Ross says he loves his 17-year-old daughter, Kayla, but has no relationship with her because he says his ex-wife, Laura, has gone out of her way to destroy it by poisoning her mind against him.
Me and my dad have a horrible relationship.
Kayla no longer speaks to me. She literally has pushed me out of her life.
When this whole divorce started, I had a really good relationship with my dad. But as I started hearing the fighting, I realized that my dad was lying to me. And I watched him physically hurt my mom.
Ross, who doesn't recognize the damage he's done, he just keeps blaming it on me, which makes her even more angry. You can call me a whore, you can call me cougar, whatever you want to use. I don't care. But you suck as a dad.
Once he was arrested, I didn't feel like fixing our relationship, because what can you fix if your father's in jail?
My children are my only support mechanism. To have one of them treat me like this is very unsettling with the potential situation that's coming up in my life.
Kayla, you're here, and your dad made a big point out of not wanting to have you with your mother. I'm not really interested in what his thoughts are about that. I just wanted to sit down and talk to you for a minute, okay?
Okay.
And this is your therapist, right?
Yeah, Alana.
And your name's Alana?
Yes.
Good to meet you.
Nice.
Thanks for coming with her
Absolutely.
and being here. One thing your parents agree about is that you are just terrific and that you're talented, intelligent, and productive and doing a great job in life. So what do you think about all of this, and how can I help you?
I just think the whole situation is crazy. It just got out of hand, and I never expected to see that my dad was going to be in jail. I didn't know that. Who knows that? It's a divorce, okay, I knew about that, but didn't think it would go this far. It went as far as ruining my whole family. Me and my dad don't have a relationship, and I mean...
Why do you not have a relationship with your father?
He would blame things on my mom. But some of the things he said my mom did, like when it came to going out, like he does that too. Like he does the same things. And no, I didn't get along with my mom at first, but you know what? The fact that he's kind of contradicting himself, he's doing the same thing. So it's like, and then I didn't like that. And it bothered me. And he would try and get me against my mom. And then he tells me so many things. He'll say, it's your mom's fault, it's your mom's fault. Yeah, she did start this. Like, of course, she started the divorce. That broke my family too. But then he's saying that it's all of her fault, and then he's saying that she's saying bad things about him, and she's blaming it on him.
I always tell parents, don't put your kids in the middle. And if you go over with your mother, you can feel like you're betraying your dad. Or you can pick sides. And I promise you, you don't have enough information to pick sides. You have just enough information to be confused and hurt and knocked off balance, because neither one of these people are objective. They tell you the world as they see it. They tell you what's going on as they experience it. You know, your dad thinks your mom's really made some bad choices and decisions. She thinks he's made bad choices and decisions. And that's the one thing I agree with them about. Yep. They've both made really bad choices and decisions. And the worst is involving you in the middle of all of this. And you have to understand, none of this is your fault. None of this is your fault. Why is that hard to hear?
I don't know, because I would hear them fight all the time, and I would hear my mom bring up, like, the kids, and obviously I'm one of the kids, so, and then I would hear my dad bring up me, and, like, I heard them fighting about me or my two siblings, and it just...
Well, I tell you, I hope everybody at home is listening to this conversation. I don't know, if you're doing something else right now, stop doing it and pay attention to this. I tell parents all the time that children have a unique ability to figure out how things are their fault. You need to understand that's not the case here. Whatever situation they're in, they are the architects of that. They put it together that way. You can either come together where you mesh, you can come together where you kind of gnash your gears. And that's how they've come together. They both love you very much, but they are not behaving like they love you very much. Because if they were, they would both change what they're doing. And things are going to change very soon. You understand that your father's very likely to be gone for a while, right? You don't want him to go, I'm sure, but...
I don't, obviously, he's my dad, but at the same time, it's like, I don't get why that happened. I just don't get it.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Yes, I do.
Do y'all fight?
Yeah, we do.
Do you yell and scream?
Yeah, we've definitely screamed at each other.
If you're mimicking the same things, you need to stop that right now. Because the more you practice it, the harder it is to stop. You need to stop that right now. You're better than that. You deserve better than that. You should demand better than that from yourself and from anybody else in your life. Don't let them set your course. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Ross has left me in approximately $500,000 worth of debt. I still currently teach dance. I make $100 a week. I have no money. I can't run the household because I can't pay the electric. I turn to food stamps. They won't give me food stamps because he's still in the house. I tried selling the last piece of jewelry I had. The man's going to federal prison. He'll have a bed at night. He'll have food. He'll have health insurance. My daughter and I, however, we're gonna be like winging it. Thanks.
Ross, are you there?
I'm still here.
What do you think about what your daughter's had to say and the conversation she and I have just had?
That's really the heart of the issue with me wanting Laura to move out 4.5 years ago. Because Laura chose to live this alternative lifestyle while still maintaining residence in the family home, it has literally destroyed sibling relationships, relationships between me and Kayla. This is Laura's controlling way of just, I don't know, get back at me for something. I'm not sure, since she's the one that started it.
I've been doing this a long time, and it's pretty hard to shock me, but
Okay.
you just did. You just shocked me. I sat down and asked you what you thought about my conversation with your daughter and her being caught in the middle of this turmoil, of which you are an active agent. And you heard her say that she sometimes blames herself for this, that it's affecting her life. It's affecting her life and what's going on. And you said, well, 4.5 years ago, when she wouldn't move out and she chose this lifestyle of alternative and blah, 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 you went right back into combat mode and blaming your wife, and shame on you for doing it. What do you have to say about your daughter?
What I have to say about Kayla is that it makes me sad that she has witnessed so much fighting and destruction. I did not mean to jump into combat mode, but the point I was trying to make was that...
Please don't make it again.
It would have been easier. I won't.
But that was then. This is now. You can't change the chaos that you've been a party to the last 4.5 years. We're here now.
I agree.
You owe your children, beginning with Kayla, you owe her a most sincere apology. You owe her. No, please, just hear me. Just hear me out, and then you can decide what you want to do with it. You need to apologize to her for what you have put her through for damn near half of her life. She needs to hear that from you, and then she needs a question from you that says, Kayla, tell me what I can do for you. So just think about what I've said. You owe your children a sincere apology, not I'm sorry for what I did, but your mother, you need to take that out of your vocabulary because they don't want to hear it. The only person you control is you. And you need to sincerely hear what I'm saying. And I hope you will really think about what I've said. And I don't even want you to respond right now. I just want you to think about it. But I think you'll agree I'm giving you good advice. Is that a yes or a no?
You are. I agree with you.
All right. Now, what do you think about the conversation I had with your daughter? Tell me what you're thinking right now.
That she's such a great kid. She's getting the first end of this. I am a good mom, and I do love her more than anything. I just didn't know how to get out of this marriage. And it turned out like this, and it keeps unfolding worse and worse and worse. And I know it's affecting her. I just don't know how to get it into control.
Well, let me assure you that the most powerful role model in any child's life is the same-sex parent. And I can tell you that what you're doing in this relationship with Ross is nothing short of abuse of these children. And you need to stop that, and you need to stop it right now. There is not one argument you have had that is worth the price that your children have to pay for you to have it. And I'll guarantee you I would rather be safe and secure emotionally with my children in a box under a bridge than I would dragging them through an emotional hell in a roof, under a roof with somebody else. I promise. She deserves better. That's all I'm saying. We'll be right back. Could I be any plainer? I mean, you know, sometimes I do feel like I'm talking to myself. I really do. But you have to understand that there is no reality, only perception. And if somebody perceives something to be a certain way, that is as real to them as me standing here is to you. And that's where you get in trouble. Understand, if you're watching today and you've been in a situation or are in a situation where someone is dominating you, isolating you, threatening you, terrorizing you, physically assaulting you, mentally or emotionally abusing you, demeaning who you are, that is abuse. And I have all kinds of resources on drphill.com to have you kind of go through a checklist and decide if what you're living with is in fact abuse, and if it is, what you need to do about it to get yourself to safety for you and for your children. Thanks for being here. So long.